posting, and talking to all these people. And they get excited when they meet you, but then when it's time to make a sale, they ghost you. The problem is not you, it's your offer. So we're going to fix that today. But first, you know what we have to do. Let's get into it. Bring it in the Zoom. Bring it in the Zoom. Ah, bring it in the Zoom. Bring it in the Zoom. Bring it in the Zoom. Okay, we're ready. Well, good morning, good evening. What to do? How are you? Hootie hoo. Happy Friday, too. I am the sound of wisdom in your ear, doll Avant. That's D-O-double-L. I'm often imitated, never duplicated. They call me the $1 billion babe, aka the pitch queen, aka the people's coach, aka Coach Dollar Bill. And you are in the dollhouse. This is the home of the OGs. Over here, we're getting off the financial grid. Why? Because we can. I mean, why would you stay on it? Why would you stay? Why would you stay a part of the system that's literally collapsing? It's collapsing right now in real time. In real time. This is a 500-year reset. Okay, you want to talk about the history? You want to talk about, in 1492, they tell you Columbus sailed the ocean. No, what happened in 1492 was World War I. 7 European nations, 7, invaded North, Central, and South America. Oh, yes, they did. Yes, they did. Who was here before? Go look at the old drawings when they drew the natives. Okay, just, argue with your Bible. You're not going to argue with me. I'm a hard-trained historian and economist. Okay, I've seen the original documents. Now, of course, there was a paper genocide. A lot of things happened, so you don't know that. You know what I'm saying? You don't know. You're not aware. Queen Khalifa out there in California that was named after, you know what I'm saying? You're not aware of who was here first, but I'm just saying. You can do what you want to do. So that was World War I. Then World War II was in 1884 when they divided up the country. There's always a genocide. There's always a genocide when they divided up the continent of Africa, you know what I'm saying, and did all of that. And then King Leopold, a lot went on. A lot went on. There was a genocide. Okay. And then what we call World War I was actually World War III. World War II is actually World War IV. So now we're in World War V. So why would you still sit here when you see the system crumbling? You see it crumbling. It's crumbling in real time. So, why would you do that? Let's just come on over here and make this cash flow and get out the way. How about we do that? How about that? How about that? So, this is day 93 of the 100-day challenge. We are going to complete what we started yesterday because I'm teaching you how to anchor your work in the emotional state and the problem state of what people are actually already thinking and talking about. If you do that, everything you're trying to sell them will sell itself. You don't have to work so hard. You know what I mean? If you will encode this into what you do and how you show up, encode this into your business. Stop being so super duper smart and start making connections with people. Your business will sell itself. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. We put some meat on these bones that we started on yesterday and the day before and get into it. So 4 things we want to do. Make sure your offer is tight and together. Then we want to talk about pricing a little bit because I'm not sure if everybody knows how to price. People are still doing stuff by the hour, trading time for money and things like that. You're supposed to be building a system that can scale, that can exist beyond you, without you. You know what I mean? So we don't have to price by the even by outcomes. You know what I mean? We need to get great at communicating our values so that people know that it's worth way more than what you're charging and they're happily, paying you, if that makes sense. So we're going to get into this pricing a little bit. I'm going to try to, if we have time, talk about how we use bonuses so that we don't have to discount ourselves. Just have some bonuses that you give people, some things that they can get extra value out of working with you, stuff like that. But that's how we handle objections. We don't have to keep discounting and doing all that. So instead of kind of negotiating our own value down, you want to keep building and adding value up. Because at the end of the day, if somebody got all these objections, maybe that's just not your client. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they're not for you. So we're going to talk about that just a little bit. If we get to this, again, how long I'll be talking. So how are we going to get to all this? I don't know. But theoretically, I want to get into the close, and anything we don't get today, we'll do it tomorrow in Saturday school, the original Saturday school. Okay. But how to close and how to deal with it when somebody's like, oh, I need to think about it. What does that really mean? And how do we deal with that? If you've been in sales, you probably know, but I want to bring the same spirit that we brought to this 100-day challenge to this part, because you got to get great at this part. And honestly, you can encode most of this in your offer so that it can happen without you. Like, I don't want everybody doing a whole lot of heavy lifting to get these sales closed. It shouldn't be this much work. By the time they get to the part of an offer, they should already be ready to go. It's already like, I want to work with you. What does that look like? And then you say, well, this is how I work with people, as opposed to you trying to convince somebody to work with you, if that makes sense. So the more value you build up in the front part of this process, the less you will have to sell in the traditional sense on the back end. So we'll get to that. And then if we have time, we'll talk about how to scale this, meaning completing the loop, turning this into a flywheel that's going to keep bringing you consistent, the same kind of people who are interested in the same kind of thing, who are feeling the same kind of emotional problem. You anchor it and you go in there and you hold space for them and it resonates and you earn their attention and you do all that. And they see themselves in the narrative that you're building, those 3 sentences we talked about. And then they're like, what are we doing? And you're able to activate with this offer that sells itself. And then it happens again. You know what I mean? So the job is to create a system that does that on autopilot. So you can be asleep. You could be on the island. You could be focused on moving your family out the way of all of this chaos, and your business is still going to be bringing you money in the meantime. So you could take that money, buy some assets. Did you know you could start your own bank? See, that's the kind of stuff I want to be talking about, but we don't have time because I can't tell you, make sure you set aside at least $10,000 for emergencies in this day and age. Everybody needs $10,000. Our capacity is not there. We're like, oh, that's a lot of money. That should not feel like a lot of money. So I'm doing my job. I'm doing my job on the front end. And then we can have those kinds of conversations later when everybody gets there. Kind of as a cohort, as a unit, you know what I'm saying? As a people, we're elevating. I know we're going to get there. We're going to get there. We're rising. Okay. So this is a system that's going to take you from 1 or 2 conversations at a time to hundreds of conversations at the same time, so that you always have money coming in. You always hit your monthly numbers. Your business should be boring AF. It should really just be like, oh my God, I made another $20,000 this month. Oh, my bookkeeper. I would hate to be them. They just have to track all this money every single month. Like, these are the problems, champagne problems that I want us to start having. So let's see how far we get on today. Moving as fast as I can. We're using the same example that we used yesterday. The fictional character who has a business that he's wanting to sell AI to some corporate executives. Okay. So remember, we had to have 3 sentences. What's there before, their transition, and thereafter. Before, what they believe about the problem, what they've tried before, what's frustrating. The transition, if they keep doing this, what's going to happen? What's the pattern and what's the loop they get stuck in? They think it's this, that's the problem, but actually it's this. That's your expertise. And then the after, if they work with you, what outcome do they get? And how does that help them get to a larger life goal that they were always trying to be on? Okay. So make sure you have, your documents and all this stuff from yesterday, because we're building on that. So for the sake of this example, remember he was like, he's helping Black professionals, corporate America. They're terrified of being replaced by AI. They're watching the company streamline in departments, and they know they don't know what they're doing. They took some LinkedIn courses, but it's not working. So what they tried before that's not working, it goes right back. They don't apply anything they learned to their job, and they're struggling. Okay. So what's the transition? They think the problem is I need more technical skill, but that's not it. The problem is you can learn and read books and articles about AI and watch all these YouTube videos all you want, but if you don't have context, it's going to go in one ear and out the proverbial other, right? You need AI that's teaching you something in the context of what task it is that you're trying to do. Specific workflows and deliverables and all that kind of stuff. So if you keep learning abstract AI and then coming back to your job, you're never going to implement it, and you're going to get left behind in the job, in the workforce, right? So then he's like, after you work with me, you go through this thing, 6 weeks, you'll have a documented AI workflow that you can show your boss, your team. You'll be getting results. You'll be able to show that you're actually leveraging these tools, that you're ahead of the curve and all that stuff, so that you can keep your job, basically, and not have to worry about where you're going to be 6 months from now, kind of thing. So we know what changes is how you get to an offer, right? What specific thing changes when they work with you? 5-star offer. What's their time to their first visible result? Why does this work when other things haven't? What's the guarantee or the risk reversal? And what's the one step that you want them to take to activate this offer? I need you to have that all together. Your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you have the skeleton of your 5-star offer? We went over that in detail yesterday, both at 2 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. So I hope you have that. Now we got to make sure we're pricing, okay? Pricing properly. We are not pricing for labor. We're not pricing ourselves like an employee that's trading time for money. Not based on how long does this take me? What would I charge per hour? How many hours is this? We're tapping into our sovereignty, okay? Because some of you guys really can't actually raise your prices, but you got to start thinking differently. Your knowledge is not a commodity. Your knowledge is not a commodity. Your ability to come in there and solve something, I don't care if it takes you 5 minutes. It's the fact that you know how to do it. It's all the years that you spent getting to the point where you can come in there and solve it in 5 minutes. You should be paid for your value, not for how much time you spend. You're not an employee anymore. Okay? So think of your price is not what you charge. Your price is actually a signal. This is why I got cussed out by all of my advisors when I told them I'm only charging like $500 whenever I make an offer in this group. And like, dog, this is ridiculous. You're absolutely ridiculous. Now, the reason why I did that is because I'm on a mission. Y'all know that. I'm specifically making sure that my people can get access to what they need to make this move to get out the way. However, going forward, people who are not the OGs, they can get all this free stuff. It's going to be on all my socials. And then if they want to come into some type of a cohort, they're going to actually pay the real price. Because why? Price is a signal. You're already saying what your value is by what you charge. So, like, think about an appraisal on a house. When they do an appraisal on a house, they don't sit there and calculate how many hours somebody spent building it, what kind of materials they spent, what kind of wood or whatever, and calculate the cost of it and all of that. That's not what they do. They look at what the house does, the function of the house. What neighborhood is it in? Who's going to live in it? What are similar things selling for? What does the neighborhood signal? What does it mean to live in this neighborhood and have access to this school and have these people as your neighbors? That's what an appraisal is. So it's not about the inputs, not about how many hours you spend doing something. Your price is not how much it costs you to create something. They're not paying for your time. They're not paying for your materials. They're paying for the transformation that occurs after they use your product, service, or solution. Okay, so you got to make sure that you're clear on what that transformation is that you provide, and then you should not feel a way about charging what you're worth. And yes, you have to balance it with the specific audience that you want to serve. But again, some of us need to serve a different audience. Why don't we serve the people who can afford to pay you what you're worth instead of serving the people who only have $25? Give the people who only got $25, give them all the free stuff, give them all the community all day long. But if they want access to you, to your brain, okay, to you showing up and doing anything, where you got to get up, get out the bed, turn on a light, get on camera, do anything, you need to charge what you're worth. Or you need to be set up where there's such volume, like a concert ticket or something, like a workshop where you got 200 people coming, paying you $200. Okay, that's different versus you doing the little twos and fews and you spend all your time and energy and you got 10 people and they paid you $100. And that's all the money you make this month. Like this is not sustainable. But you got to show up, you're doing all this. You need to automate that. If you're going to charge those prices, that's the part that should be automated, that they can get access to that without you. It's digitized. It's over there. When I talk like this, again, the people that need to hear this, some of them are not here because I'm going to start bumping up into all kind of limiting belief. Well, I can charge. How could I charge this much? Well, what if they say no? You're talking to the wrong people. Now, you can do a volume play, learn how to build you a community of people who are circling around you and checking for you by showing up in your content the way that we keep talking about. And you can have thousands and thousands of people paying you $50 a month or something like that and do very well. I'm not saying that. But I am saying if you're going to do something that's a specialty, that's taking your specific time, you got to take your specific brain and apply it to their specific, you're doing customized stuff or you're doing consulting and all of that where it's hands-on or brain on for you, you need to charge what you're worth. Okay? So let's figure out how to do this pricing. 3 things to remember. Number 1, we're pricing the outcome, not what it costs you to deliver it. Okay? And then when you say the price, you anchor it to the outcome and not the little deliverables that they get. Okay, so instead of saying it's $497, 6 weeks of coaching, resource library, weekly one-on-one calls. No, it's $497 to make an investment in your career so you can walk away with a documented AI workflow that's going to protect your job. Obviously, he should charge more than that in my fictional example. Okay. So the first way people usually think about pricing, you're charging for this box, this packaging, whatever. But the way I need you to think about pricing is the outcome, the transformation that people are buying from you. Okay? That's number 1. We charge for outcomes, not for inputs. Number 2, your price is a filter. It's not just something that you try to close and try to get people to pay you. Okay? So we got our 3 sentences already. Before, transition, after. Boom. They should be ready to go. They're anchored, they see themselves, all the things. Now, when you set your price, you're actually filtering. Because all buyers are not your buyers. All potential people floating around are not your customers. You only want people who are at the right point. They're like, nope, I need this transformation. I need this work for me. I'm ready to make a change. I'm here. Those are the people who will be willing to make an investment because they're ready for the transition, the transformation that you provide. You don't want to work with the people who are just hanging out and tire kicking because they're going to give you more headaches. Ask me how I know. Okay, so your price, if it's too low, it's going to signal subconsciously to the people that your outcome is going to be low. But likewise, a price that's too high for your specific target audience, that's why I keep asking y'all, who are we serving here? We got to be intentional about that. It's not for everybody. If you price it too high, there's going to be too much friction. They ain't got it, basically. They ain't got it. Okay? So you want to really think through how you want to show up and find that sweet spot. You have to remember, we follow the roadmap. So who are the people that you have proximity to whose problem you are uniquely positioned to solve? If you don't have proximity to the people that could pay you $10,000, $20,000, then it doesn't make sense for us to build a whole business model around that. But at the same time, don't charge them $300, $400 because you're worth more than that. You have to find the sweet spot. We're pricing for the buyer who's already in enough pain. They know they got a problem. They're already motivated to act. You know they got the budget. They might have to squeeze, but they got it. See, it's a spectrum. You don't want to go too far to the low end, but you don't want to go too far to the high end and then spend all your time trying to convince people because, again, they ain't got it. Okay, so you either need to find a group of people who got it or you need to build a business model where you get enough volume, but make sure you're not charging too low. Okay. Number 3 thing you got to remember when it comes to pricing, when you say how much it costs, when you say this is the investment, you're going to get a documented workflow that you can implement immediately in your job, and this is going to protect your career. It's actually probably going to get you promoted. They're going to ask you how you did it and ask you to implement it in other departments. But even if you had to leave, you could take this and go make some money anywhere. And the investment for that is going to take you 6 weeks. It's $497. Stop talking. Say the price and stop talking. Okay? Everything you say after you say the price, you're negotiating. If you try to justify it, elaborate, also, and talk, you're signaling that you don't believe that your price is worth it. You're signaling that you're not comfortable with your own price. So if you hear me say nothing else in this mastery part, this last part of this 100-day challenge, when you get to this part, you make your offer, you say what it is, and here's the price. Stop talking. And then let the silence do the thing. This is what I charge. Other people pay it. I don't have to convince you, what we doing. Stop talking. Now, going back to my fictional example, because I don't have the energy, honestly. It's the end of the week. It's been a long week, but I can't workshop you guys and still get us off the phone in 90 minutes. I can't. If we were in a live workshop all day, I would do this. I could do this all day. But let's use our fictional example. He has an AI thing. He's doing coaching for corporate executives. Okay. So he did all the work, got the offer down, 5 parts of the offer. We went through that yesterday. If you don't have your notes, ask me to go back over it again. Okay. They got the 3 sentences. That's how you turn any conversation into a sale without being salesy. Okay. Did all that. And now remember I told you, I don't think this fictional example, I don't feel like he's charging enough. 6 weeks, I'm going to give you a workflow, AI workflow that's going to protect you in your career. So you don't get it out, downsized or whatever. $497. I don't know if that's the right price or not. Let's see how we figure that out. Let's go back to his customer. All right. This corporate executive, senior management person, she let's say she earns like $150,000 a year. If she loses her job, she gets put out of work for 3 months while she's searching for another job. How much money is that? That's like $40,000, $50,000 in lost income or whatever. Y'all could do the math. That's not account for health insurance, the 401k, and all this other stuff, the psychological pain of, being unemployed in her 40s. She's freaking out. She spent a decade at this company and now she's out and floating around. So the outcome that he's giving her, something documented, a workflow that she can use to leverage to protect her career or help her get promoted because she knows how to use AI and other people in her company do not, then that's actually worth 5 to 10 times what he's charging for this program. What would this same lady pay if she was going to go hire a career coach, an executive coach, or take some kind of leadership development programming? Easily, she would be paying $3,000 to $5,000. Easily. 8 sessions with a high-performing executive coach. So him charging $497 is less than a third of the cost of what she would do to solve this problem another way. She could see other people that lost their job. Y'all follow me now. They done lost their job, and she's watching people get downsized and all this kind of stuff. She got this younger person that's already come in as her manager, keep talking about automation every day and stuff like that. So $500 is like, that's how much you would pay for, a lot of less important things. Okay. So honestly, he should be charging more. The reason why I go through this exercise is because people call me on my phone and leave me messages and they feel like they can't charge what they're worth. And yet they tell me, Oh, but I see such and such and so person in my field, and they're charging $6,000 for something that you charge $100 for. And you tell me all the things that they're not doing in their program. And well, guess what? That means you don't know how to anchor your own value. So I feel like in my fictional example, this man should be charging at least $1,000 minimum. Minimum. Okay. Why? Because the person who would pay $500 for what I just said to protect their job or make themselves more employable in the age of AI, $500 person is just trying something out. You know what I mean? They're not really committed. Somebody paying $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, they're committing. Okay. And when they commit, they're going to get better results. Better results are going to give you better testimonials. Better testimonials are going to justify higher prices. It's going to compound. So I actually need you to set a floor for yourself. Below this amount, I'm not going to do the work. Because what you're doing is you're inviting in a certain type of client that's not going to give you the momentum that you need to scale the type of business that you said you wanted to build. If you want to be the go-to in your industry, you can't be charging the lowest price, the bargain basement price. You ought to be considered, name a luxurious brand, a high value brand, high value entrepreneurs, but you want to charge Dollar Tree prices. That don't go together. It don't go together. So what are you currently charging? How did you get to that number? Did you do an audit of what value you're actually providing, or did you just pick a number that seemed safe so that somebody might say yes to you? Yep, I'm all in your business. I'm all in your business because we don't have time to be picking prices based on, well, I don't know, they might not go with that. So let me pick a number that, you know what I'm saying? That's the wrong energetic signature. And now every time you go into a conversation about some money, they're going to feel all of that. I don't know. I'm not sure. And they're going to lowball you every time. So out the gate, you can't be, again, there's motion, momentum, mastery. If you're just like, I've never done this work before, I just want to work with some people so I can get in my flow and get in my bag and see what's up. Okay, that's not what I'm talking about. Most of you guys are past that point. You've already done this work. When you get to the point you've already done this work, I know my framework works. I know when I show up, you're going to get results. Once you get to that point, the discounting days are over. Because this is a hypothesis. I have to be able to see, can you charge this price? Does your narrative, does the platform, does the context, the narrative that you're building around your work support you scaling at your ideal price? We have to test that in the market, and we can never test it if you keep charging Dollar Tree prices. Oh, just pay whatever you like. Just, keep me posted. Oh, it's fine. Get to it when you can. No, that's not scalable. We don't have time. That's how you drag out time. That's how you make this take forever. And you make a little bit of money here and then no money. And you make $400 over here, and in 3 months you don't make no money. And then you make, oh my God, they pay me $1,000, and in 6 months, no money. This is not sustainable. I need you to know what you're worth, know why, stand on that, and go charge people that. Do all this anchoring, do all the work, get into their business, emotional language, let it resonate, earn their attention. You keep showing up. They see you everywhere. The narrative is clear. You're very consistent. They know your name. Your name keeps coming up in the community. Your name keeps coming up on the social media. It's popping up on their feed. They can't stop thinking about you. You get an email every Friday. If they're getting all the value, and they finally reach out and say, you know what, I've been seeing your stuff. I really need, I need to do something different. Wonderful. This is how we work together. You're going to get this specific outcome. Here's my time frame. This is how we know it works. We have a very unique mechanism. Most people are doing this. We do this. And I guarantee you it's going to work. But you have to show up for all the sessions. If you miss 2 sessions, don't even sign up. But if you do all these things, you're going to get results. I guarantee it. So what I need you to do, are you ready to get started? Yes, absolutely. Okay, the price is this. Click right here, fill in the thing, get on my calendar. We start Monday. Stop talking. If you can't do that, we can stop now. We can hang up the phone. I've never stopped in 30 minutes. I can stop right now. If you're not willing to stand on business and stand on, we want to say stand on business. This is what it means. I know what I'm worth. This is my value. What we doing? Stop talking. Okay. Now, I already know that people have been picking their pricing based on what they felt like somebody could afford. Oh, that so they wouldn't say no. Like y'all can't. A lot of people in this group cannot afford $500. But I refuse to go less than that because I know what this is worth. I know what it's worth. I can get on stage for 45 minutes and talk about one thing that I've taught out of one half of one day of the 100-day challenge, and they'll pay me $25,000. This I know. So the value is what it is. People have to figure it out. And I need you to be able to stand in that energy in what you're building. If you make a concession because you're specifically serving a specific group of people, fine. But the price is what it is. And you got to stand on that. Okay? So we're not picking numbers based on so somebody won't say no. Because then you're building your whole business on fear and a scarcity mentality instead of on the value that you actually provide. You're picking numbers that feel safe to charge, and that's going to keep you stuck right where you are. It's going to force you to keep hustling. You cannot scale it. It's not sustainable. You won't ever make enough money to hire some help. You won't ever make enough money to be able to step away from the business and put some things in place and do all the things. Even with the AI, you need enough bandwidth to learn how to use this stuff. Right? So if you take the time to do an appraisal of what value you really provide for people and what it's going to cost them if they try to solve it another way, you're always going to come back with a higher price point than you would have if you had done it from a place of fear. Okay? So here are the 3 questions to ask yourself to audit what you build really worth. Number 1, what is my outcome worth to my buyer in actual dollars, time, pain avoided, or whatever? Estimate that. Number 2, what will my buyer pay for the closest alternative on the market? Whether it's a consultant, a coach, a course, service, some other way to try to get a similar result. And I literally mean that. Like, what would it cost for moon jug, right? For you to find a spring that's not contaminated, something that's tested every hour on the hour, and drive, get you some glass from Italy, do all of this, and get it in a protected source. How you gonna get this? I don't know. And you find that, and then put it in the bottle, and then drive it back to your house from the mountains every week. That's what I mean. What would they pay if they were trying to do some alternative? Okay. Number 3, what is the cost to them for not solving this problem? Money, time, health loss, opportunity, peace of mind over the next 90 days, over the next year, if they don't solve this problem. You put all that together, and your price should be somewhere between 20 and 40%. What's the outcome worth to my buyer in actual dollars, time? You should be somewhere around 20 to 40% of that. So that when they pay your price is a no-brainer. But it still should be high enough to signal your value and don't play with me. When you're ready to get an outcome, that's when you come over here. Okay? So your outcome and your price should be living in the same neighborhood. Your value and your price. Okay? Any questions about that? Because there's no time. We don't have time.
Do you mind repeating question 1 and 2 again?
Sure. What is your outcome worth to your buyer in actual time, dollars, pain that they're avoiding? That's number 1. Number 2, what would they pay for the closest alternative on the market? Trying to do it themselves, working with somebody else, going through another, coaching or therapy or whatever to get a similar result. That's number 2. And then number 3, what's the cost of them not solving this problem? Money, time, opportunity, whatever, peace of mind over the next 90 days or a year. And use that to audit what you're charging. Most of you guys are not charging enough. Some of you are, and it's fine, but I want to be sure that it's anchored in what you're worth and who your audience is. It should be a sweet spot in there, not anchored in fear or nobody's going to pay this amount and I'm nervous. If I raise my price, they're not going to pay me. Because that's an energetic signature. It's going to follow you all the way through the rest of your business. And you wonder why 5 years go by and it's like, I know people like my stuff, but I'm just not able to scale. It's because your pricing is rooted in fear and not in abundance. Okay. That's the first part I want to get through today. Any other questions? Part 2. Bonuses. What if somebody's like, oh, well, I'm not sure about that. We're still not going to discount our price, but we can offer bonuses. We can add more value to help them feel like they need to feel to go ahead and pay my price that I said, because I said I'm not changing the price. Okay, so we're adding value. We don't discount. I'm saying you could do a volume discount, because you're doing so much, or because you're paying the whole thing up front instead of doing the payment plan, that kind of discount, yes. But just trying to change your price because you're just trying to close the deal, no. We are high value entrepreneurs. We know what we're worth. Okay, they got to find it. If they don't have it, they got to find it. You can't change your business model every time you meet a new person. Oh, I don't have it. Can you? No. Actually, no. But what I do have is some free resources for you. Come on over here in the community. Honestly, you can get everything you need in the free one. You just got to put it all together yourself. You want me to do it? This is how we work together. That's what you do. Okay. So bonuses are going to help you stand in your power. Okay. So now let's say this brother, for whatever reason, my hypothetical fictional person, they have found that $500 is the sweet spot. Maybe they're like, I'm specifically working with corporate executives who don't run through all their savings and they're on their last leg and they're nervous about losing their job and they really just don't have it. So I want to help them because I know that if those people get out of financial, constraints, they're actually going to be some of the best entrepreneurs out here because they're motivated. So I'm going to make it affordable, $500. They can put it on a credit card or whatever. Cool. So he says, all right, this thing is $500. The person that he's talking to doesn't say no, but they hesitate. So they're like, oh, well, I need to think about it. Or they're like, oh, do you have a payment plan and all this kind of stuff? Or maybe, she was being responsive and now she's not being as responsive anymore. What most of us would do, because we're like, oh, I need this sale and I just want to help people. I want to help everybody. They'll come back and say, well, actually I could give it to you for $400 if that'll help. And so what happens when you just start discounting yourself for no reason? 2 things. 1, they know that your price, that wasn't really your price. And number 2, they know if they just keep waiting and hesitating long enough, you'll keep coming down off your price. I'm telling you, you got to train people how to treat you. This is in life. People treat you how you allow them to treat you. What you tolerate, you cannot change. So if you want somebody to pay you what you're worth, don't keep discounting your price and changing your policies and giving all these exceptions to the rule. Doesn't mean you never do, obviously, but I'm saying as a standard. Just to try to get the sale. It's the wrong energetic signature. And if you keep doing that, your business is always going to feel like a hustle. It's never going to feel like a system that's flowing and going. Okay? So if you make that mistake at the beginning, you're defining the rest of your relationship with this person. And remember that business is just relationships with numbers. Okay? So instead of doing it the normal way that people who have a scarcity mentality, that's what they do. We need to step into our sovereignty. Abundance is our birthright. What do you mean? There are tens of thousands of people out here who need what I'm offering. If this person ain't got it, or they're not sure, or they're not ready to make this change and transformation, there are thousands of other people. My job every day is to build a system that keeps me in front of those thousands of people and brings them to me. So I'm never just locked in. I gotta get this one person to buy this thing for me. Okay. So you got to build your offers in such a way that if the person you're talking to kind of hesitates, your response is never to discount yourself. But what you can do is add something to the value. You can throw in some bonuses, okay? It's a way to resolve, let's say it that way. It's a way to resolve any like hesitation, but still stand in your power. Nobody talks like this. I know. I know. All right. So remember now, if you think about an objection or hesitation or a delay or something, every objection is just it's a specific underlying fear or anxiety or discomfort. So if you can resolve that or speak to that or address that, you eliminate it. So your bonuses are tools that will help you to do that. So first thing you want to do, if you've talked to enough people, hopefully you're starting to get into the point where you're making an offer with people, you can actually do an objection map. So specific things that they're afraid of that live in the mind of the buyer at the time that they're trying to decide whether or not they want to buy something. And then you build a bonus or you add something to the offer that directly addresses that. What they're nervous about, afraid of, what about this? Oh, that's in there too. What about that? Oh, we got that too. But you don't tell them all this at one time. You use it as a tool if they have legitimate objections that you need to address. Okay. So ideally, you should be adding value, not subtracting from the price. Adding value, not subtracting from the price. And again, we shouldn't even be having these conversations for $200 stuff. This is no, I'm talking about when you're charging somebody $10,000, $15,000 for your consulting or you're signing a multi-year agreement and things like that. Okay, we want to be in a position where we can add value before we have to try to subtract the price. Or if we subtract the price, you're going to give me something equally or more valuable in return. So I'll subtract the price if you sign a 2-year agreement instead of 1. You see what I'm saying? So I still come out ahead. I'll subtract the price if you buy 10 of these instead of 2. You see the difference? Okay, so if somebody hesitates, the first thing is not let me make it cheaper. What you want to do is ask, what specifically is making you want to think about it? What are we thinking about? Don't say it like that. But what specifically is making you want to think about it? And then really listen to their answer. What do they say? Yeah, I'm excited I even get to teach this part. We've gotten really far. I usually don't get this far with the group. Okay. So listen to what they say, and then you want to, if you've done this enough, you would have that mapped out. So let me see if I can give you an example. Well, somebody come off of mute, and I'll give you an example in your real business.
Go ahead. I'm ready.
Go ahead, Tracy.
I think for myself, I try to let people off the hook because by the time I'm getting to the point where I have to ask if I have the audacity to ask what's making you think about it. I feel like I've already overspoken. I said the price and then I added more. And then it feels un-yogi-like to sit there and feel like I'm pressuring someone and they just said no, so I think if I stood on business and did all that.
Wait. Yes, they said no. Yes. Give me that. What do you mean?
Like you said, what when they say, oh, let me think about it or something like that.
That's not
when. No, it's not. It's not. But then having the audacity to ask, so what exactly are you thinking about? By that time, I could ask that question. I think sometimes I've already spoke that I missed the mark, so I feel uncomfortable going further to ask that one question too.
That's why I'm talking as long as I am about this, because all of this is about your energy. Remember, money is energy. We're making a connection. Connection is the birthplace of currency. So all the way through to the other side of this transaction, we can't get uncomfortable. This is actually part of the work. We got to be so clear in the value that we're providing. Hopefully through the conversation, it became clear that the person that we're talking to needs the value that we can provide. So that there, at no time should we now get out of our position. This is why I keep saying sovereignty. This is your position of power. I know my value. I'm talking. I'm talking. And oh, this, you recognize the value. You see something here that's for you. You've anchored that. You did all that. You let it resonate. They feel like they need to feel. They're leaning in with you. Oh, beautiful. Well, it sounds like there's an opportunity for us to work together. Here's what I offer. Specific outcome. 6 weeks, and you're going to get this outcome. And this is my mechanism. This is why it's different from anything else you've ever tried. We go this. So instead of that, you get that. Guaranteed results. If you show up, you're going to get these results. And all you have to do
I
is
need
get
a
started.
5 stars pitch for my outcomes, then a whole separate outcome 5-star pitch.
This is your 5-star offer. Yes. This is what I'm, yes. And then this is all you got to do to get started. Here's the price. Stop talking. So yeah, so by constructing these 5 things that I'm talking about, that's going to keep you from feeling uncomfortable in the moment of making this offer, because that is the last O in the Afro method, right? 2 F's, 2 O's. So we listened to their aspirations, frustrations. We anchored all our stuff in what they said and give them our framework based on that. And they reflect back to us. Oh my God, yes, this is what I need. Da, 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 da. Great. Sounds like it's an opportunity for us to work together. This is what I recommend for you. You never see me again. Give them some value right then. Boom, boom, boom. This is what you need to do. Now, I have a whole program that we do this. You get this specific outcome, this time frame. This is what you can expect. And this is my mechanism to guarantee you're going to get these results. I guarantee you're going to get these results, or whatever you do to deal with the risk on that. And here's the next step you need to take. This is the price. Stop talking. So now we have, see, we're elevating. We're going to make it all the way through the whole Afro method and feel like we need to feel. So that when I say part of your big 5 every day for all of us is to, practice your pitch, practice your 5-star pitch, and pick your Afro. This is literally what I mean. You would be going through that conversation in your mind. The 6 questions that you can use to start this conversation with anybody off the street. You will be able to start this conversation and get them talking about their aspirations and frustrations. You have your elevated 5-star pitch. You have your original 5-star pitch. You have the conversational one. You have the elevator pitch. All the ways. You have those 3 sentences that we worked on really hard yesterday. You have all these ways to anchor what you offer in the language of the person that you're talking to. So they feel seen, heard, understood. The neurons are firing. All type of stuff is going on. They feel like they want to feel. They're leaning in. Great. They start reflecting back to you. That's how you know you got this mirror effect. You got it right. Because they're like, oh my God, yes, da, 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 we need this. Oh my God, we need you over here. We need you in our studio. We need you for the office. We need you. Da, 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 da. We need you. Okay, great. Sounds like there's an opportunity for us to work together. And then you do this 5-star offer. And we stop talking. At no time will we allow ourselves to drop back down to a place of, don't get me wrong, this is just programming. We're just reprogramming our brain, right? But to a place of scarcity or lack, or I'm not sure, or I need this sale, or I don't know. We're sitting in our position of power. I have value. You need the value. You see what you need reflected in what I'm saying. I see that I can help people just like you. I can guarantee it. What we doing? There's no space for discomfort as long as we stay in our power. So yes, I want you to complete this 5-star offer exercise and the pricing audit so that you know that you're pricing yourself the way you need to. Because instinctively, you know when the price is too low. You just feel it. And so what I'm giving you today is tools to help you not discount your price, but you can add, some other value that you can add on there. Okay. And also when you ask them these things, like, tell me what what makes you feel like you need to think about it and listen to their answer and all of that. And you start offering, bonuses and stuff like that. You're not trying to convince them of anything. You're really just revealing more of the offer. Showing them when you work with me, you're not just getting, a little document. You know what I'm saying? You're going to get your whole situation is going to be rearranged by the time you work with me. Listen, I'm a world-class coach. I don't think you understand. Let me break it down for you. What would it be like? How would your business be different if you had a world-class coach in your pocket and you're like, I'm not sure about this, and you could just call? You also get that when you work with me. You know what I'm saying? So you're not convincing them of anything. You're just completing the offer, showing them parts and things that they couldn't see. But you don't change your price. You're just revealing all the value, things that they couldn't know until they walked through this door with you. If that makes sense. So let me give you an example of an objection map, because you really need to have already thought through this, which is why working on your Afro method every day is a part of the Big Five. Okay, you got to think about, what if somebody says, I need to think about it? Translation, what that means is, I'm not really convinced yet that this is the outcome that I need. I need more proof that this works. Somebody else could say, oh, that's a higher price than I was expecting to pay. What that translates into, I'm not really clear on the value to be able to connect it to this price that you just quoted me. I'm comparing this to the cost of a traditional course or some other random person who used to do this for me 2 years ago, not the cost of the outcome that you're going to provide for me, or the value that you're going to provide for me, or the cost of what's at stake if I don't solve this this problem in my life or my business. If they say, oh, can you do a payment plan? Which, again, I'm not against payment plans, but that's not where we start, okay? Because payment plan, when they say that, what it really sometimes means is, okay, the outcome is cool, but I'm not sure if I have the money right now. Then they have a cash flow problem, okay? If they say, I'm not sure if I have time to implement this right now, the translation is, I'm afraid I'm going to spend this money and then I'm not going to follow through. I'm already overwhelmed. And what if I've just failed at this too? I know I'm not going to do what I say. So that's an internal problem with them. Okay. If they're like, well, have you done this with anybody else? Can I see some testimonials, stuff like that? They're like, oh, this could work in theory, but I need to see some proof that it's worked for somebody like me, not just somebody in general. If they say this is a big one. Let me talk to my spouse. Let me talk to my partner first. That really means I'm not really fully committed to this, and I'm going to use another person as the buffer, so I don't have to say no to you directly. Like, they're just.
Then I get that a lot.
That's usually what that means. Mm-hmm. Or, sometimes they have a legitimate, shared financial decision that they need to try to honor, but you can tell the difference in the energy is a difference. Oh, okay, yeah.
No, that's not ever it. They try to get out of
exactly.
They don't end up with a sale. That's for sure.
Exactly. So you're not going to try to solve for all of those at one time. You need to have this is like tools in your toolkit to be able to address based on who you're talking to. Okay. So.
Well, how can you solve for that one with the marriage on without saying, you know, you ain't got no damn man? What's the
Well, you're going to get less of that if you do all this stuff we've been saying over the last couple of days.
Okay.
You're going to get less of that. But what you can do, I'll jump to that one and then go back. What you can actually do is have something that's in your toolkit, something that's already automated that you could provide for people. If they legitimately are like, and you can tell the difference again, but you're not charging enough for this to be a real issue, but theoretically, okay, you can tell the difference when somebody's like, oh my God, I want to do this, but I promised my husband I wasn't going to keep spending on the credit card without telling him, so I need to go talk to him. You can have a tool, a video, a little briefing document or something that is specifically designed for somebody to share with their spouse or partner to explain everything you do, everything you talk, everything that you vibe with this person about that they're excited about. Have it written for that partner who can see it and know what it is and be like, okay, cool. You can already have that prepared. You know what I'm saying? So that if that's really the issue, it won't be based on them trying to go back and translate all the value that they got out of this conversation in exchange with you to convince the partner. You'll have a tool that they can use to go and share with the partner. Now that sounds extra. Ain't nobody going to do that.
No.
Yes.
Would the framework be that, or the one pager we were talking about yesterday, or our website? What would you suggest?
It should solve for that, right? If you do it right, it should be the same energy as this, 45-minute
Right.
conversation that we just had,
Mhm.
and all the bells and whistles and people are jumping up and down.
Okay.
If there's some kind of customized, approach that you come up with for a client, you could put that into a template and just add a few personal notes of what you recommend for this specific client, but
Okay.
and send them
I-
that. Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't really get that objection because I deal with a lot of people who own their own business,
Mhm.
or are the leader of the organization. But I'm just curious, like, what you think is the best. Because I have decided that my the picture framework,
Yes.
like, I'm gonna keep that for myself. I think
Okay.
to go through that with clients, like
Mhm.
that'll be part of the initial consultation, basically after they fill out the form.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking that will be my flow. They put in the email, they fill out the form. So maybe that's something I can point them towards because a lot of single business owners, they don't have the money or the cash flow basically right now to
Right.
pay my full fee.
Right.
I do offer, 50% upfront and then half after
Mhm.
you see the results. But would you suggest anything else? Me?
Yes. So I'm saying yes to everything you just said. Like anything that's going to replicate the experience that would be had one-on-one. I'm addressing the partner issue, which it might not be a thing for you. But yeah,
Right.
anything that will replicate the experience that they had if they were sitting with you for 2 hours, have that readily available, yes, to share with somebody else.
We don't do 2 hours. That's too
Oh,
long.
whatever, 30 minutes, whatever.
I'm like, I'll do 30 minutes to an hour,
Exactly.
depending on.
That's what I want to
Like,
hear. That's what I want to hear.
But yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't get that particular objection, but I do get I don't really have the money
Okay. So
right now, or
good.
it's not stable, I guess.
Gotcha.
Right.
So let's go through all of them. If somebody says I need to think about it, you can just add in this detail. That's for everybody. Well, when you get started with me, a quick win. What's a quick win that they're going to get as soon as they start working with you? As soon as you start working with me, first session, we're going to do your 5-star pitch. Now, there's 3 ways to do the pitch, 30 elevator pitch, the conversational one, and the other one, if you're on stage or on a podcast or something, you're going to learn how to do that, talk to people, you're going to get that the first session. So it feels like a bonus, right? Something that gives them immediate proof. As soon as they start working with you, you can go ahead and say, when you start working with me, you're going to automatically get this out the gate. So it feels like a bonus to them. Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. I do a diagnosis. Like, I talk to them basically, and I'm adding in the form because it's nice to know ahead of time.
Yeah.
So I added that in so that we have talking points.
Yeah.
But I am finding that people are a little vague on the form sometimes. So I do really have to do that consult.
Yeah, I like that. So that can be that thing. Well, as soon as we get started, if they're, I need to think about it, well, listen, as soon as we get started, you're going to get this diagnostic. It's going to tell you blah, 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 blah. Like, you might be feeling away. You don't know what you don't know. But by the time you finish your first session, you're going to know exactly this is what we need to focus on in your business. It's going to give you a lot of clarity like that.
Okay.
So that feels it's a bonus. Okay. If somebody's like, oh, that price is more than I expected or whatever, you could do something like giving them a tool, or you already have some templates that you're building, but giving them something that shows them exactly what the value is that they're getting for the price. So it's like, okay, oh, I didn't know it was going to be that much. You're like, well, let me show you. Here are the templates. When I finish, all these templates are going to be customized for you. You're going to know exactly blah, blah, blah. You're going to have this, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have a workflow, blah, blah, blah. You're going to have, whatever those things are. All of this is included when you work with me. So now they're seeing, okay, on the other side of this, is another tangible
come back
thing.
With some other things. Okay.
If they're like, oh, I don't have the money right now, can you do a payment plan or whatever? Just have one already in mind.
Okay.
Like you said, you already have that. So, because that's not a discount. That's very much just accommodating somebody's cash flow.
Mm-hmm. And I want to do that because I'm trying to help, people like us.
And you offer that when asked. You don't have to necessarily volunteer it, but to already have a standard. Okay, this is how we can accommodate that, right? If they're like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have time to implement all of this, you have some type of way to, maybe even the way you've already structured your business, but something that this is 1 hour a week. This is, once we do our calls, I also have recordings with the screen
Oh, yeah.
recording, so you can
Mhm.
go back and watch it later on your own
That's a good
time.
idea.
All this kind of stuff.
Okay.
You get a once a month or twice a month, we get a one-on-one session where you can come and ask me anything. So you're never going to fall behind or get overwhelmed. You always have access to me. This is included.
Yeah.
Like that.
Okay.
And then if they want to see testimonials and stuff, we should already have case studies written out. If you got video testimonials or case studies or anything like that already prepared that you can share with them.
Okay.
That's
Is
something
that
to have.
case studies? Like, should I have those written out, or is that I
It can
just
be written.
speak with them?
It can be written out.
Okay.
It can be like I said, video testimonials, but I'm talking about detail, right? Meaning like
Yeah.
featuring a person or a client in a specific similar role, what they were experiencing, like the whole ISDR and all that. So the identity, the struggle, how y'all work together, and then the result.
I think, I cover a lot of that in our initial talks, whether it's in person or online.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, I'll talk about my nonprofit work.
And so for you, this wouldn't even come into play with the kind of the clients that you're serving now. This would be when you start charging $10,000, $15,000.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So you could have something to refer them to so they could really get in there and see the work that you've done, and so they can justify, this PO that they got to sign or whatever to justify the money, kind of thing.
Yeah, because the contract that I have was a referral from somebody, and she already heard the work that I did for them. So she kind of already knew. So yeah, I'm wondering how to speak with other people that are in that position. But also I find that word of mouth is really great too in this space, because they want someone they can trust with their website presence, because they're trying to get investments and partnerships and things like that. So
exactly. And
I would love to get more clients like that.
Yes, and we can build that into the system. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these are just ways to kind of think about, for everybody, how to think about, if somebody says these things, be prepared already and just have something to respond to that. But the first response is not, well, let me just discount my price. Like, no.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. And then again, if I got to talk to my spouse, my partner. Yeah, probably you don't. But if that's a real thing, have kind of a template that you can easily fill in for, let's say they're the non-technical partner. Let's say they're the ones who don't really understand what it is that you even do, but they're just in charge of the budget or whatever. Making sure that you have some type of standard way to communicate that value, so it's not dependent on them being able to go repeat it back to the spouse or the partner, but you have a tool that they could use when they're having that conversation with the spouse or the partner, if that makes sense. So this actually is a bonus step, what I just described. So we're not changing our price, we're not changing our main offer, but for every kind of vague fear or anxiety that they might be thinking about or feeling, there's a specific name thing. Like you go so far as to call it something, right? Like each one of these, well, that's why we included this specific thing, to address. Not convincing anybody, but you're just completing the picture. All of this is included when you work with me. Because at the end of the day, if they're not a good fit, they're not a good fit, and we're detached and we're moving on. Like, it's fine. But you want to be sure that you at least are prepared to address it, as opposed to letting it knock you off your square. This is about standing in your power and your sovereignty. Okay. So think of that as like a bonus stack or whatever. And you usually don't have to use all of that. You have one or two things that you can kind of throw in there and say, well, this is also included. When you work with us, you also get this named thing that addresses that issue, right? So if somebody says, oh, I know I need to get my life together, I need to get my business together. Oh my God, I know I'm just overwhelmed. I have so much to do. I still have a full-time job, but I'm trying to start my business. Just all over the place. It's like, it's fine. Because everybody who works with me, you also get the elephant diet. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to help you like prioritize and make sure it's on your calendar. Remember how we were in school, K through 12, and when the bell rings, you do the next thing? I'm gonna teach you how to do that for your business, your life, your dreams, your kids, or like whatever it is. Like, that's included as well. So that eliminates that. You see what I'm saying? That eliminates that hesitation. So they can just go head on. That's the energy that I'm talking about. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to stop talking for today. It's already 3 o'clock. But you should be able to walk away from this session really doing an audit of your pricing. And if you missed that, go back and watch the replay. The ways to kind of audit what the thing that you offer is actually worth, the value. You're not charging based on the inputs, the ingredients, the time of your labor, the materials. That's not how we come up with a price. We're charging based on the perceived value of the buyer. What would it cost them to try to do it alternatively? What is it costing them to not have this solution? What is the value in terms of time, the pain that you're resolving, the long-term health benefits? That's how you come up with your pricing. Okay, so then second half, we talked about common objections that you hear. What do you commonly hear people say? Oh yeah, I want to do it, but ... Oh yeah, man, I'm gonna ... What's the ... And already have something built in there that addresses that, so that you can bring that out as you will. To them, it feels like bonuses. To you, it's just anchoring. I said what I said. This is my value. Okay, so we're not doing Dollar Tree pricing anymore, because the old version of you might have thought that if you lower your price or just keep explaining it, or doing all of that, and then when people kind of brush you off and they walk away, and then 3 days later you send an email just checking in, all of that. What that's doing is that's signaling to that buyer that you need the sale. And the moment that you signal to somebody you need this sale, subconsciously you've lost the negotiation. You lost the position of being a mirror. We're supposed to be here. They're here. We're here. It's supposed to be an even reflection. Okay. Business is relationships with numbers. You don't want to be up here. You don't want to be down here. You want to be right here. All the way through this transaction, all the way through the Afro method, all the way through this conveyor belt. Okay. So when you have this kind of toolkit where you can mention bonuses or anchor anything they're anxious about, you can anchor it in something specific that you already thought about in advance that helps you keep your position. Because remember, entrepreneurship is not a goal that we set for ourselves. It is a game. I'm teaching you how to play the game. If you're playing basketball and somebody defending you, or you're trying to defend somebody, say it that way, and they go this way, you need to, what are we doing? You got to be right there. So it shouldn't be, oh, I'm not sure. And then you just lose all your confidence. Now the conversation's over. Like, no, you gotta hold the door open so that your customers can walk through the door. Okay, so if somebody has a hesitation or whatever, acknowledge it, ask them what's causing it, and then respond back with some value that speaks directly to that. Not a discount, not a defense, just, oh, I can acknowledge that. A lot of people have that. I don't even know where to begin. That's why we have the Entrepreneur's Roadmap. You're going to get a full breakdown of that, because this is a journey. You know what I'm saying? Entrepreneurship is not easy, right? And you get overwhelmed, get frustrated. Nobody around you has ever done this before. I'm going to give you the map. So you always know where you are. You always know what to do. You always know what parts you're on. And every piece of this roadmap has a whole set of activities that go with it. So each week when we have our meeting, we're going to go in here and identify where you are on the roadmap. Like Geico, they say 15 minutes or less. Okay. In 5 minutes or less, we're going to assess where are you on the roadmap. And then we're going to zoom in on that part. So you'll always know exactly what to do. So it doesn't matter what they say. You say the value that you've already built into the thing to address what they're concerned about. And so that it literally becomes a filter. They're either your customer or they're not. Everybody's not for you. We don't need everybody. We just want our people. We want our tribe. Okay. So name your 4 most common objections. You can do 5 or 6 if you got them. But no, what they say to you and what's the real fear underneath it. Write it the way that they think it, not what they politely say to you, but what are they actually thinking? When they say, oh yeah, no, what do they really mean? So they say blah. What they mean is, I'm afraid that blah. Do that for all the objections that you can think of. When you talk to people and they seem excited, but then they don't buy something, What are they saying to you? Okay. And for each real thing that you identify, come up with, I'm saying bonus, but it should already be right in your wheelhouse. Come up with the bonus that resolves it. Something concrete that you can name, something specific, something deliverable, not like more support, not like I'll be with you every step of the way, like a named thing, a document, a deliverable, a session, a resource, some kind of structured, formatted thing. Oh, that's why we have this. Oh, well, when you work with us, we've already worked on that. So I've got, my staff is going to also do this for you. Oh, but my branding's here. It's no problem, because we're also going to give you this 48-hour branding. So you'll have your logo, your colors, and your graphics, and all of that will be done the first weekend after you start working with us. It's already included. I got you. You see what I'm saying? So you don't have to build all this today, but I want you to at least name what the objections are and where people are, map out this energy so that we can come up with solutions. Okay.
Can I interject something?
Yes.
And that might be helpful? And I don't know if how you feel about it, but I know that a barrier for me was like Micaiah was saying, in regard to the pricing, because I know I am slightly higher than some companies, but I know that I have a niche company as well. So that's why my pricing is what it is, and I don't back down on my pricing. But I do offer like the buy now, pay later option on my website. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how helpful that is for some companies, because the buyer can go ahead and purchase your product, and then they can select their terms if they qualify for for the service that you'll be providing them.
Absolutely. Yeah. So like you said, one of the common things is people are like, oh, I really want this, but it's a cash flow issue for them. Yes. So have a standard way, right? We're not discounting the price, but we have a standard way that we address that. So, oh, I don't have the whole whatever. Okay, you can do 2 payments. Like that's just your standard way of approaching that. Oh, I can't do it right now. Cool. You go in there and do the buy now, pay later. Right. That's a standard approach. Or like pay 50% up front, 50% on the back end type thing. So as long as you're not changing every time somebody trying to come in and negotiate, that's perfectly reasonable. I think that's a great solution for the cash flow objection.
And then I had one thing. I came in on the back end of one thing you were mentioning about a document or something that you can present to your spouse or partner.
Yes.
In regard to spending. Can you kind of go back over that? Because I think I missed the bulk of it.
Sure. So I was talking about how to handle objections. If people say, I need to think about it, what do we do? If people say, oh, that's more of a price than I was expecting, how do we handle that? They say, oh, I don't have the money right now, I need a payment plan. We just talked about that. They say, oh, I'm not sure if I have time to implement this right now. We can address that. They say, oh, well, I'm not sure, who else have you worked with, We have a solution for that. And then the 6th one was like when people say, oh, I need to talk to my spouse or my partner first or whatever. First of all, we're translating all of this. So what they say is, I need to talk to my spouse and partner. And if they're sincerely wanting the product, you can tell, right? Talking to them, because some people just say that to get out of the conversation. But so if they're just trying to get out of the conversation, they're really saying, I'm not really committed. I'm just going to use this person as an excuse, so I don't have to say no to you directly. And we don't care. That's not our customer. But if they're legitimately saying, I have promised my spouse, we've been getting into it about me just swiping this credit card, and I can't make this decision without talking to them first because I promised that I would. Great. Then what we want to do is have some type of standard way that, like, we give them a tool, in other words, to support that conversation. We don't just depend on their ability to go back and pitch to their spouse or to their partner, right? Because things get lost in translation, and the conversation might not carry the same energy that it was when you were talking to them and they were getting excited, right? So you can give them some kind of a document, have a template that you customize for the person you're talking to, that has all this anchored language that we've been working on the last 2 days about why they want to work with you and why it matters, and what they've tried before, and the frustrations that you solve, and what's different from what y'all do versus what the other people do, and all that language. After you work with us, you're going to have all these great, beautiful outcomes, not a features list, but like all the anchoring language that made this this interaction so powerful with the person that you're talking to, you need to have that in a format that they can easily share with their spouse so that it's not lost in translation, right? So what are they getting? The specific offer, the 5-star offer that we just had, the specific outcome, the timeline that it's going to take, what makes your mechanism different than somebody else's, the guarantee that you have in there, and, you know, the specific action you want them to take, and, you know, all the details and stuff like that, any kind of custom recommendations, you know, if you've had a conversation that's specific to them, give them that in a document, is basically what I'm saying. So you can have a template and then just add a little prescription part for the specific person you're talking to. This is exactly what you're going to get, so that they can literally just go take it to their spouse. And there's nothing lost in translation. That's what we said. And have that kind of as a standard way to address that. Oh, I understand. Well, let me do this for you. Let me share this, and you can name it something, right? Let me share this, you know, this, whatever you want to call it. And so that you could just share this with your spouse and share everything that we talked about today. And then when you're ready, right here in the bottom, you just click and get started. Like that. As opposed to it goes back up into the ether and goes back into the abstract of, oh yeah, okay, well, keep me posted, you know, let me know. And then you trying to follow up with them in 5 days and all that kind of stuff. That's what we said. So we just want to anchor everything when somebody tries to, okay, the connection is what it is. So we got all this clarity, we got the confidence, their defenses came down, you were present in the moment, we made a connection, emotional connection, we're anchoring all this stuff, they feel seen, heard, understood, cared for, valued, something is happening, there's transformation, energies are transferred, there's a whole connection going right now. So what happens is we get to the very end, it's time to make an offer, we don't have a 5-star offer, so we go back to listing features and we break the connection. So we fixed that yesterday and today. And the other side of it, from their perspective, they're like, oh, I really need this. But then they pull back. So they're breaking what? The connection. And we got to keep the connection because connection is the birthplace of all currency. So we got to keep them right there. So if they try to float back to the, oh, I'm not sure. Oh, I don't know. Oh, let me see. Oh, got to call somebody. Oh, got to ask them, you know, all of that. We got to bring it back in. We got to anchor it back down. So that's why I'm being so intentional about saying, and I'm calling it a bonus stack, but as you see, it's really just anchoring them. They're trying to float back from the connection. You bring it back. It's like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to have time to do this. That's why I'm giving you the elephant diet. Oh, I wouldn't even know where to start. That's why we had the entrepreneur's roadmap. Oh, I don't even know how to, you know, I'm so nervous. I get so nervous. I don't know if I could do it. I talked to 50 humans. I don't think I could do it. This is why I teach the 5-star pitch. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, I didn't talk to my spouse. Well, here you go. I'm going to give you your full blown prescription based on this conversation. Bloop, 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 bloop. Here you go. Share that with your spouse. This is what I recommend. I'm here to help you implement it. And you can do what you want to do. But this is, if I were working with you, this is what we would do. Give your spouse that. If you work with me in 90 days, you're probably going to make about $10,000. So this $500, I don't know what y'all talking about. You're not willing to invest. Where can you go invest $500 and make $10,000? I'll wait. You see what I'm saying? So everything they do that tries to float away, you anchor it back. You keep that connection all the way through till the transaction is completed. And you encode this in your business so that you, your interns, you hire somebody to do it, your niece and nephew, you got to train everybody to do that. We can't come into our business and our interactions when it's time to turn this interaction into a transaction. You can't get all nervous and because your energetic signature is saying, I don't feel like I'm worth this price. I don't feel like this is going to work. I'm not sure if they're going to pay me. Oh, I don't know. There's a scarcity there. And what you put in this energetic field is what you're getting out. It's the ripple effect. So we have to come from a place of sovereignty, a place of abundance, a place of, I know my value. I know my worth. I know I'm saying what I need to say. I know that I'm being clear. I know I can actually really serve this person. So they see it. I see it. Connection. Boom. Now, here's the offer. I'm done talking. Oh, I don't know about this. Okay, boom. Well, I'm not sure about it. Because you just connect it back. And so at the end of the day, it's zeros and ones, y'all. This is why technology was able to take over the world, even though it's an artificial, invention. It's built on, can't make it without the earth, sand, but it's artificial intelligence built on the natural system. It's zeros and ones. It either is or it's not. Either you're my customer or you're not. Either we're going to do this or not. It's like, what are we doing? And the only way to do that is you have to hold the energy. You got to anchor it. You got to anchor it. And if you do this enough times and encode it in your business and encode it in your systems, and this is how we talk. You train somebody. This is how we talk to people. This is how we deal with objections. This is how we This is our frequently asked questions. Well, what about this? You should already have your frequently asked questions written out and memorized, for that matter. Have them on your website, the whole thing. Like anything they could say, we already got an answer for that. So it's literally just, are you my customer or not? You buying this or not? You're in or out? You know what I'm saying? And the more you can do that, the more your business turns into an engine that's going to keep that flow consistent. So that's why I spent so much effort talking about this today. Nobody talks like this, but nobody makes millions of dollars either. I know everybody on this phone can make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 a month. Minimum. I know it. And so it comes from, we're not going, Tracy says, we're not doing Dollar Tree, we're building a money tree. Facts, okay? I know that we could I know we can make it. I know we can. I know darn well we work it out. Yeah, we can do it. We can get this money. We can go ahead on. We could be all right. But we have to stop allowing for all of this, all that nervous energy to get. This is a flow. It's a system. Have you ever? Okay. I don't know what to say. It's a machine. It's an engine. If your phone gets wet, what do? You say, oh, you start running. You grab it, it fell into water. You start running. What do? We go get some rice. You just pour all the rice in a bowl. You just running. Because it's like you can't get no water. Can't get no water in there. It's not gonna work. So you can't get this scarcity, this, I'm not sure they're gonna pay. Oh, I don't think they can afford it. Oh, I can't charge more than that. Oh, I don't know. How much is it worth? The problem that you're solving for people, they can't get this nowhere else. How much is that worth? You better stand on your price. You better know what you're worth. Stop discounting yourself. So that's what I wanted to say today. Any questions, comments, concerns, challenges, feedback, perspective, and personal story time. Happy Friday for those who it's a holiday for some people. So shout out to y'all. Anything, anybody? Questions, anything I talked about, any other random question. We're going to be doing this tomorrow as well. I'm going to be talking about how to make sure your free thing that you're offering is the right thing so that it keeps moving people through this system. This needs to be a system. It needs to just be a flow. I heard you. I'm locked in. What's next? Boom. Give me that. Now what's next? And a percentage of all those people are going to keep going. You're going to always have customers. You're going to have a waiting list. You're going to be booked. You're going to be overbooked. Booked and busy. Unbossed. Unbothered. That's what we're doing. So any questions before we go? Y'all, it's a nice day. I want to get some sun or something. Okay, hearts and minds are clear. Sound like I like that. So go find out what you're pricing, what you're worth. Do your pricing audit. Go work on your objection map and see, what people are tending to say to you. What do they really mean? Not what they say, but what they really are thinking. And then how can you address that by having something that's going to anchor them back to the conversation? It's like, you need this value. I got the value, right? Yes. Yeah, but what about this? We got this. What about this? I got this. What about this? We also got this. What about this? I got this. So then at the end of the day, it's either you in or you out. Are you real? You fake? You Kendrick or Drake? What are we doing? And you can live your best life. You can be detached. You don't have to stress. You know what I'm saying? Because where that person came from, 100 more are coming through because you built an engine. You know what I'm saying? So if hearts and minds are clear, you guys have an amazing rest of the Friday and whatever. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not going to where. But somebody asked me, how long you going to go live every day? I don't know because my family thinks I'm crazy already. But theoretically, I need to keep doing this until all my people are free. I don't know. But tomorrow's day 94. I'll see y'all on the next one. Until then, we got to go.